Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me and allowing me to continue to be your daily advocate. If you're new here or you're not subscribed for any reason, please do me a huge favor and hit the subscribe button. Thank you to all of you who have been watching and following me for so long. It truly means a lot, and I'm glad that I can be this person.
Cindy Young, who's the managing director in Europe from Ripple, was on this guy's podcast. I don't know when, but anyway, I took a clip from it and wanted to play it for you.
The name Ripple, they might think of the lawsuit with SEC, and when others just hear the word crypto, they'll think about governments in everywhere from Russia to the US clamping down. And I know you can't comment too much on some of this, but is there anything you can say about it and the impact that the uncertainty is having across that industry?
Yeah, I mean, for those that may not be sort of fully aware with the whole sort of challenges, it really boils down to one single, legal question, and particularly in the US, right? And that question is whether or not XRP, the digital asset, is an investment contract under the US securities law. XRP is a currency. A lot of the major branches of the US government have already determined that to be the case. And when you look outside the US, there's really not one country around the world that has classified XRP as a security. So, I mean, SEC is at the moment pursuing essentially this approach of regulation by enforcement, where a lot of other places, like UK and Europe, where we see more regulation, more progressive regulation that is about developing clear laws, rules, frameworks to allow innovation to happen. And this lack of regulatory clarity essentially is hindering innovation and growth, honestly, across the US. And we need more of that clarity, which we have in other parts of the world.
All right, so there's that. Now, I like this. This guy says, why I keep $0 in my bank account. This is from that Canadian conference this morning. It's worth hearing again, and then I'm going to roll it into something and remind you all of something. Remember what Rahm Emanuel said, never let a crisis go to waste, because you can do things that you could never do before. These people, I believe they create emergencies so that they can do things that they couldn't do otherwise. But they use emergencies to do whatever they want to do. Nothing is sacred, folks. Once we had the bailouts of 2008, 2009, that was your clue. Nothing is sacred. Really, once we had gold confiscation in 1933, that's when you should have known they can do anything they want to do, folks. So if they don't, your only solution is if they don't know about it. Listen to this.
The government is issuing an order with immediate effect under the Emergencies Act, authorizing Canadian financial institutions to temporarily cease providing financial services where the institution suspects that an account is being used to further the illegal blockades and occupations. This order covers both personal and corporate accounts. Third, we are directing Canadian financial institutions to review their relationships with anyone involved in the illegal blockades and report to the RCMP or CSIS. As of today, a bank or other financial service provider will be able to immediately freeze or suspend an account without a court order. The government...
That right there is downright scary, and I think this guy pegs it. DJ Peter Voss, this is true. The money in your bank account is one state emergency away from being the government's money. Now, folks, if you think all this is crazy, just look at this. I've talked about it on this channel before. On March, this is the Cypriot financial crisis. On 25th of March 2013, a $10 billion international bailout by the Eurogroup, Euro Commission, European Central Bank, and International Monetary Fund was announced in return for Cyprus agreeing to close the country's second largest bank. The Cyprus Popular Bank, also known as Lackey Bank, imposing a one-time bank deposit levy on all uninsured deposits there, and possibly around 48% of uninsured deposits in the Bank of Cyprus, the island's largest commercial bank, a minority proportion of it held by citizens of other countries, many from Russia, who preferred Cypriot banks because of their high interest on bank account deposits, relatively low corporate tax, and easier access to the rest of European banking sector. The result This resulted in numerous insinuations by U.S. and European media which presented Cyprus as a tax haven and suggested that the prospective bailout loans were meant for saving the accounts of Russian depositors. No insured deposit of $100,000 or less would be affected, though 47.5% of all bank deposits above 100,000 euro were seized. Let's say that again. 47.5% of all bank deposits above 100,000 euros were seized. Nearly 1/3 of Rossiya Bank's cash, $1 billion, was frozen in Cypriot bank accounts during the crisis. All they need is a crisis, folks. They can, and you know what else? You know what else has got my radar up right now? All these governments around the world right now, out of nowhere. Oh, well, there's going to be the next pandemic's going to be a cyber pandemic, and it's going to be worse. Almost like they're prepping us for some type of cyber attack that just knocks everything out. In other words, oh, your money's gone. Well, that's what it makes me think. Your money's gone. Sorry, they attacked us. Whatever. I'm not taking my chances on that. That's why I'm always talking about Ledger NOS and all kinds of different things. Now, the court case could make XRP, the SEC versus Ripple case, could make XRP the only crypto asset with regulatory clarity in the United States. Something I forgot to mention, folks. I believe this Cyprus thing was a test run on bail-ins. And I've said this on this channel before. Remember during the financial crisis? I'll never forget it when Hank Paulson, because I thought it was so disgusting, Hank Paulson had to physically kneel to Nancy Pelosi, of all people, to get her to do whatever she had to do to approve the bailouts. And it wasn't a popular political thing, of course. And so what they all did is they said, well, you know what we need to do? We need to, bailout's the wrong way to go, because then we have to, then the taxpayers are going to see us doing it. So what we'll do is we'll write bail-ins into all these banks' paperwork. And that's what they did. All these banks and their policies, I've shown it to you on this channel before. Bank of England's one of them. They wrote bail-ins into them so that they can do to you what I just described that was done in Cyprus. Go look around, Google bail-in, type in your bank and type in bail-in and see what happens. It might scare you. Now, I was just looking around. I missed our old buddy Joseph Lubin because he is, somebody needs to create a meme where's Carmen Sandiego? Where's Joseph Lubin? Because he has disappeared. He's not out running his mouth like he used to. But I went because I missed him, I went and found another clip. And I said, hey, Gary Gensler, I need to know what Ethereum is as an investor. Your job is to protect me. According to Joseph Lubin, Ethereum 1.0 is a toy, a proof of concept. It's a toy. He literally calls it a toy in this clip, y'all. Listen to this.
And I think the narrative around Ethereum has evolved so much more dramatically. And I think we knew from the start that we were essentially building an incredibly complicated machine, but that it was ultimately really a toy, a proof of concept. Ethereum 1.0, a very sophisticated proof of concept that would enable us to understand what decentralized applications are. And I think
So Bill Hinman declared a toy a commodity. Okay? Let that sink in. John Deaton had a great thread here. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. I just wanted to read a couple of parts of it, but it's worth you going through. I just wanted to bring it to your attention. I missed it from yesterday. It's for non-XRP holders, and he kind of goes through. He says, before you celebrate or ignore the significant implications of the lawsuit, and he talks about DBS and he basically goes through and talks about what's going on with XRP around the world and how this is just a USA thing, more or less. But you need to go read that. It's a good thread. JP Morgan says the metaverse is a $1 trillion per year market opportunity, folks. You think they know something? I think they know a lot. Today, Liz Clayman's going to have Gary Gensler on at 3 p.m. Eastern time. Here's my thoughts on that. My thoughts are this. Gary has avoided Fox News because, remember, Fox News, Fox Business is where Charles Gasparino and Eleanor Terrett have been the only people in traditional financial media besides Rosalind Layton on Forbes. They've been the only people who have touched the Gary Gensler, Jay Clayton, Bill Hinman saga at all. Okay? They've been the only ones. So you have to ask, and Liz Clayman is the show that's been letting Charles Gasparino on to talk about it. So you have to ask yourself the question. Gary Gensler has done nothing but what everybody else does that wants to avoid being asked real questions. He has avoided Fox News like the plague. You have to ask yourself the question, why is he comfortable going on there now? That's what I want to know. Is it possible? I'm not saying that that's what this is. Is it possible that a settlement has already been reached with Ripple in this SEC case? Because now he seems to think he can go on there without fear. Because trust you me, he feared it before. Now, she says he's going to, maybe he's going to talk about what I think to be a diversion. Alert, SEC sniffing around trades Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley made and whether they tipped off hedge funds in advance who then maybe shorted the stocks. Now remember, these are Gary's buddies. He was at Goldman Sachs for 18 years, folks. And I said, this is a diversion, the Wall Street playbook. Here's how this ends. Nobody goes to jail is step 1. 2, they are fined. And 3, the money made the money that they made in the scheme far exceeds the fine that Gary Gensler gives them. That is how the game works there. Senator Toomey has done a whole thread. Senator Pat Toomey today. The banking committee will hear from Nellie Lee from the U.S. Treasury, and they're talking stable coins. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. I just wanted to make you aware of that. And this is important. Watch this, and I'll try not to play the whole thing. I do want you to watch 2 minutes of it because it's important. If you haven't listened to a word I've said today, listen to this.
Fraudsters are targeting crypto accounts using technology designed to separate you from your money.
Now, let me give you my thought before you watch the whole thing. My thought is, since we know CNBC carries the water of Wall Street and carries the narrative, I believe this is the second or third clip that I've seen them run where they're trying to tell horror stories about people getting in trouble on Coinbase, and that means one thing when I hear it. It means they want people to be scared of these crypto startups as far as investing in digital assets. And one fine day, they're going to have JP Morgan or Goldman Sachs or one of the people they're protecting on their show, and they're going to say, hey, guess what? Now you can invest in crypto safely. Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley. Now you can do it safely because the Wall Street people, the people you've always been able to trust, are here, and you don't have to worry about people stealing your money and sending you texts and all the stuff anymore because they're not like those crypto startups. This is Wall Street.
In a CNBC investigation, Eamon Javers unveils the crypto nightmare that all starts with a phone call.
Dr. Anders Apgar and his wife were out to dinner in January with their children, and his phone just wouldn't stop buzzing. The voice message was alarming.
Hello. Welcome to Coinbase Security Prevention Line. We have detected unauthorized activity.
That caught his attention since he and his wife, who are both obstetricians, had more than $100,000 in Bitcoin invested through Coinbase, the country's largest crypto platform. Apgar had a bad feeling as soon as he answered. Something in the back of your head said didn't quite feel right. Correct. And it didn't feel just convincing enough. For an instant, he was convinced it was real.
We have detected unauthorized activity due failed login attempt in your account. This was requested from an Canada IP address. If this not you, please press 1.
That says to secure your account, hit 1. Yep, so I hit 1. Yep, and as I hit 1, the two-factor authentication came through, and I saw a text come through. And this is where, honestly, it gets hazy, almost like when people say they were in a car accident, and I can't remember the details of what happened. And I looked at my wife and I said, something is wrong. And I said, let's try and get into it. I said, let's get to the account. And so when we opened the Coinbase app, we could no longer get into the account. How long was it from the time that two-factor authentication came in to the time that you checked the account? Maybe less than 2. Less than 2 minutes. You tap something on your phone, and 2 minutes later, you're out of your account, gone. And the money was gone. Absolutely gone. I have no idea at this point. The access to the money was gone.
The account was completely locked. The culprit was apparently part of an increasing trend, a one-time password bot programmed to trick you into thinking your account's getting hacked, but in reality, it's stealing your two-factor or 2FA authentication code. Jessica Kelly is an analyst.
All right, that's what you need to see. There's a way. Look, if you're not comfortable with having a Ledger Nano S and you want to keep your stuff on Coinbase, the first thing I would do is put it in a Coinbase vault, which puts a 48-hour delay on the release of your digital asset.
So enjoy your day, everybody. I'm always here for you. Leave any comments or questions below, and be sure to subscribe. But thanks, everybody. I really appreciate you. Enjoy your day, and I always have your back. So thanks so much, everybody.